the Unova tour event is coming up this weekend. So let's discuss all the details and events that are going on this weekend. So let's get right into it. So the Unova tour event begins March 1st at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and is also March 2nd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. as well. Now this event is completely free. You can play this entire event without paying anything. However, there are some optional paid bonuses you can buy if you so choose to do so. During this event, we're going to have some bonuses. Between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. on both days, we will have half a catch distance. And between 12 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. on both days, you can do up to 6 special trades per day. You'll have half Stardust cost for trades, and you will have no remote raid limit. Now, Shiny Meloetta will be making its Pokemon Go debut during this event. A paid ticket for the Masterwork research will lead to an encounter where you can actually catch Shiny Meloetta. It will be guaranteed. Now this research does not expire, so you can just complete it at your own pace. Now of course, the big ones, the Black Kyurem and the White Kyurem will be making their Pokemon Go debut during this event. For those of you who don't know, basically Black and White Kyurem is actually a fusion Pokemon. We don't really have that many fusion Pokemon in just the Pokemon franchise in general. But basically you will combine the Pokemon Kyurem with either a Zekrom or a Reshiram. You will fuse them together and you will create either the Black Kyurem or White Kyurem. Now Kyurem can fuse with Zekrom using 1000 volt fusion energy, 30 Kyurem candy, and 30 Zekrom candy to become Black Kyurem. Or you can fuse Kyurem with Reshiram using 1000 Blaze fusion energy, 30 Kyurem candy, and 30 Reshiram candy to get White Kyurem. Kyurem fuse with the special legacy move Glaciate to become Black Kyurem will have the move Freeze Shock, and Kyurems with the legacy move Glaciate to become White Kyurem will have the move Ice Burn. Now Freeze Shock and Ice Burn are actually adventure moves as well. Now Freeze Shock basically stops the Pokemon that you're encountering from moving a lot, from moving around the map, from jumping up and down a lot. Basically it has the power of the Nanite Berry, but you don't have to use a Nanite Berry. So you can freeze it so it doesn't move, and then use maybe a Golden Raspberry to make it easier to catch, which is pretty nice. And what's actually really interesting is that this effect, while it's still active, will actually give you a higher catch rate even when using connected devices, such as auto catchers. If you're using an auto catcher with this effect on, it will give you a higher catch rate using your auto catchers, which I think is pretty freaking awesome. All for the price of 5,000 Stardust and 5 Kyurem candy at increments of 10 minutes each. Now Ice Burn is a move that will essentially slow down that circle. You know, whenever you throw a Pokeball, you'll have that circle that will move a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And basically that will dictate if you get a nice, great, or excellent throw. If you use Ice Burn, that will actually slow down the ring, so it'll make it a lot easier to get excellent throws, making it easier to catch Pokemon. Also, with this effect active, it will also, same thing as the other one, will have a higher catch rate even when you use your auto catchers, which is freaking awesome. And just like the other effect, it will cost 5,000 Stardust, 5 Kyurem candy at increments of 10 minutes each. Now, whenever you fuse Kyurem together, the fusion is permanent until you choose to unfuse them. However, if you unfuse them, you do not get the energy back. The energy that you spent will be completely gone, so it's best just to leave them fused. And for those of you who are wondering, the IVs for Black and White Kyurem will be decided on whatever the IVs that Kyurem originally had. So if you caught just a regular Kyurem and its IVs were 100%, it was a perfect, whenever you fuse it with a Zekrom or Reshiram, the black and white Kyurem will be 100% as well. So keep that in mind. The IVs are dictated by whatever the original Kyurem's IVs were. And I think it's also important to note that the adventure effects of Ice Burn and Free Shock cannot be Elite TM'd. So definitely keep that in mind. Also, black and white Kyurem cannot be traded, it cannot be transferred to the Professor, and it cannot be transferred to Pokemon Home. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so we'll have some new special backgrounds available. Reshiram can have a background inspired by Pokemon Black version. Zekrom can have a background inspired by Pokemon White version. Kyurem encountered in its unfused form after defeating Black and White Kyurem in raids could have either background. Plus, when you fuse a Zekrom or Reshiram that has a special background with a Kyurem that has a special background of the opposite color, the fused Black Kyurem or White Kyurem will have its own variant background, its own special background. During this event, pretty much all the shinies that have not been available in the Unova region will become available, such as all four forms of Deerling, and then of course the Unova regionals. Maractus, Sigilyph, and Bouffalant will be available shiny, and these regionals will hatch exclusively to the 10k eggs. If you use the Party Play feature in the game, you can actually get encounters with Throw, Sock, Heatmore, Durant, all of which will be available shiny as well. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the route system, but if you use routes during this event, you can actually encounter both red and blue striped Basculin. Those shinies will be available as well. Now, I know most people who play this game pretty much play the game with the sound completely off. But for those of you who are interested in it, during this event we will have new music available while you're walking around on the map, catching Pokemon, taking on raid battles, and of course loading the game. During the Pokemon Go Unova Tour Global event, trainers will be able to pick 2 event badges, black version and white version, and the badge you pick will determine certain rewards and bonuses. To get the most out of these bonuses, be sure to start the global event special research story, It's Not Over Yet, and select your event badge when it becomes available. This special research will become available beginning Saturday, March 1st at 10 a.m. local time. For trainers who choose black version, the Reshiram badge, you'll receive Reshiram themed special research. All Kyurem encounters when you defeat them in a 5-star raid battle will know the charge move Glaciate. And for trainers who choose the white version, the Zekrom badge, Zekrom themed special research will become available, and every Kyurem encounter will have the special move Glaciate as well. Now, during these events, a lot of times we will have certain Pokemon that will have their Legacy or Community Day moves available, and this is no different. So, whenever you fully evolve these Pokemon into these forms, they will get their Community Day move or their Legacy move when you do. So definitely take advantage of that. This will include Superior will have Frenzy Plant, Emboar will have Blast Burn, Samurott will have Hydro Cannon, Gigalith will have Meteor Beam, Conkeldurr will have Brutal Swing, Leviant will have Shadow Claw, Excalibur will have Razor Shell, Excelgor will have Energy Ball, Electros will have Volt Switch, Chandelure will have Poltergeist, Haxorus will have Breaking Swipe, and Hydreigon will have Brutal Swing. Alright, so during this event, we will have 4 different rotating habitats. Basically, just a time frame where different Pokemon will be spawning at different times. So the first one that's going to be coming up is called the Winter Caverns habitat. That'll be available from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., but also 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. During that time, the Pokemon that will be spawning will be Oshawott, Roggenrola, Woobat, Drillbur, Tortuga, Manchino, Vanillite, Deerling Winter Form, Joltik, Clink, Tynamo, Axew, Cubchoo, and Cryogonal. Next up is Spring Sorore from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. as well, during which Snivy, Pansage, Munna, Audino, Timber, Seawaddle, Venipede, Cottony, Petalil, Ducklet, Deerling Spring Form, Fungus, Olomola, and Ferroseed will be spawning during those hours. Next up, we've got Summer Vacation from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. The Pokemon spawning will be Tepig, Lillipup, Pansear, Pidove, Blitzel, Temple, Darumaka, Dwebble, Archon, Trubbish, Deerling Summer Form, Emolga, Stunfisk, and Rufflet. And last but not least, we've got Autumn Masquerade from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. as well as 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The Pokemon spawning will be Patrat, Purloin, Panpour, Scraggy, Yamask, Gothita, Solosis, Deerling Autumn Form, Frillish, both male and female, Elgian, Litwick, Golett, and Dino. Or Dino, however you pronounce it. All of these Pokemon that are spawning in all these different habitats will be available shiny. Additionally, we will have 4 different costume hat Pikachus. Those will be a shiny available as well, of course. And then the unknown Pokemon spelling out the word Unova will be spawning whenever you use an incense. Not the daily incense, but a regular incense. And those will be shiny available as well. As I mentioned before, during this event, we will have half hatch egg distance, and we'll have a whole bunch of different Pokemon that will be available in the eggs, such as the 2-kilometer eggs will be hatching Ragnarola, Timber, Carablast, Shelmet, and Larvesta. 5-kilometer eggs are going to have Throw, Sock, Heatmore, Durant, and Larvesta. And probably the most important ones is the 10-kilometer eggs, which will have the regionals, Maractus, Sigilyph, Buffalont, and Larvesta. Larvesta is not actually a regional, but I think it's actually cool that no matter which egg you get, the 2 kilometers, the 5 kilometer, or the 10 kilometer, Larvesta will be available in those egg pools. And that's very nice for people who don't have enough candy for that. And of course, the biggest part probably for everyone is going to be the raids. In the 1-star raids will be the 4 costume hat Pikachus. Those will be shiny. In 3-star raids, we will have Druddigon available. That will be shiny as well. And of course, the big ones in the 5-star raids, the legendary raids, will be both Black and White Kyurem. Zekrom and Reshiram will be available in 5-star raids as well. So if you want to get those, you can. But I would recommend just really prioritizing doing the Black and White Kyurems. During this event, we will have event field research tasks. The research tasks will reward all 4 costume hat Pikachus, the red and blue striped Basculin, and all 4 forms of Deerling. Keep in mind, I've said this before, but all the Pokemon I have listed are shiny available, so definitely try to grind and get those shinies. And lastly, let's just talk about some tips and tricks throughout this event so you can maximize this event as much as you can. I definitely recommend Mega Evolving Pokemon if you can, because in case you don't know, whenever you Mega Evolve a Pokemon, whatever type that Mega Pokemon is, whenever you catch the same type in the wild, you'll get more candy for them. So for example, let's say you Mega Evolved a Venusaur. Mega Venusaur is both a grass and poison type. So whenever you catch a grass or a poison type, you will get extra candy for those types, which I think is very, very helpful. So if you really wanted to, with the rotating habitats that we're going to have, if you really, really wanted to, you could change the Mega Pokemon that you have that will maximize the types that you have for each of those habitats. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it is an option if you want to. Another great tip is use the Origin Form Palkia's special adventure move, Spatial Rend. Spatial Rend will actually double the radius that Pokemon will spawn around you, which is very helpful. More Pokemon spawning around you means you can catch more Pokemon. More shiny checks, more possible high IVs, hundos, whatever you can get. So definitely take advantage of that as well. And let me try to give you some like real world tips and tricks that aren't exactly in the game itself. Definitely fully charge your phone before this event begins. You don't want to start this event and your phone's almost dead. That would be horrible. Fully charge up your power banks. Pokemon Go drains your battery pretty damn good. So make sure all your power banks or whatever you got that's helping you charge your phone on the go is fully charged. Bring your working charging cables. Bring extra, just in case if your charging cable no longer works, or maybe someone else around you might need a charging cable. So definitely bring charging cables, bring extra if you can. Make sure to fully charge your auto catchers. Again, would be horrible if you wound up starting this event and your auto catchers are pretty much dead. fully charge them. Make sure, or change out the batteries if it's like the actual manual batteries. Switch them out, charge them, do whatever you gotta do. Also, I would recommend going into the settings of the game and actually downloading all assets. What this means is that a lot of the data for the game will actually be downloaded directly to your phone. That way the data will be pulled from your phone instead of the internet, which will then make your game experience run a lot faster and a lot smoother. So definitely download all assets. Do that before the event starts. Do that now if you can. Also, dress appropriately for the weather. If it's cold, dress warm. If it's gonna be hot, dress a little bit cooler. Especially if it's sunny and hot, make sure you're using sunscreen. Bring lots of water. It probably would also be a good idea to plan ahead for your lunches or snack breaks. That way you're not overloading yourself and you don't pass out or something. That definitely wouldn't be good. So definitely plan ahead for your lunch and snack breaks ahead of time. And that's pretty much it. I know that is a lot. That is a lot of information, but hopefully you can make some sense of this video. Good luck to everyone involved. I know this weekend's gonna be crazy busy, but good luck to everyone. Hopefully y'all get lots of shinies, lots of hundos, lots of shundos. Comment down below if you are looking forward to playing this event. And if you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. And until then, I will see you guys next time.